Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin with Web show. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. Not for you. It's sometime during the week, in the afternoon at 2. But for us, it's a beautiful Saturday morning. We are at Space Coast Book Lovers in Cape Canaveral, Florida. And right now, we are hanging out with author Pamela Ackerson, the author of, among other things, Garrett's Ghost, which is frightening first thing in the morning. You don't want to see those words together. I don't, but it looks cool. So, Pamela, thanks for coming out and hanging out with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
All right, well, tell us about Garrett's Ghost.
Garrett's Ghost, it was a trip. We were traveling around the United States, and we did the tour in Pendleton, Oregon. The underground tour.
Okay.
And as I was doing the underground tour, I was like, oh my God, this would be an awesome book. So when we got back, I started writing about it, and I got stuck right in the middle of the book. So I put it down, did some other things, and went to another book signing in Alabama, and we stopped in Americus, Georgia, and stayed at the Windsor Hotel, which is haunted.
Wow.
I was talking to the waiter, and he's like, let me see if I can get permission. I'll give you a tour of the unfinished, because they're all renovating. I'll give you a tour of the unfinished ballroom and all of this stuff. And as I was doing that, I knew exactly what the book was going to finish. Yes. So he's a time traveler.
That's cool.
And
time travelers are cool. Yeah. All right.
The ghost started haunting him in his future.
All right. So the ghost starts haunting him in his future, and he's a time traveler.
Yes.
And what drives him to time travel? What's he looking for?
He actually met a couple of brothers that are movie actors and producers.
Okay.
I had to change the name. The last names are Harris, but their first names are Owen and Luke. The real last name is?
Yes.
Okay. So he met them because they had traveled back in time because they wanted to know what it was like to do a Western.
Aha.
And they met him in Texas. So they invited him back. So he started going to a time travel convention and met them, and then met other time travelers.
A time travel convention.
But see, nobody,
that sounds like a good time, by the way.
Nobody knows except for the few that actually time travel. They all think it's just like fantasy, and William Shatner's there, and Jonathan Archer is there.
William Shatner needs to be everywhere.
Yes.
Let's face it, we all need
yes.
that. Okay, so this just inspiration out of nowhere. You're traveling around in the ghost tours
I get stuff like that
and
all the time.
Wow.
All the time. Yes.
How many books do you have out now?
23, 24. I've got 14 fiction and a boatload of nonfiction. This one
what
right
is your
here
nonfiction focus mostly
This
on?
one is based on a true story of a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was also one of 30 non-Native American code talkers.
Wow.
And I've got his pictures. Everything is documented. Everything is backed up by government documents. Some of it I had to take out because it was still classified.
Still redacted, yeah.
And I met that man.
Awesome. By the way, we're gonna spin that up. That is the Enola Gay and its pilot.
And I met him, and I got his signature and gave it to.
Oh wow, that is fantastic. Those of you who are familiar with the Enola Gay, that is the bomber aircraft that delivered the world's first atomic bomb.
Yes.
And wow, 23, 24 books.
Yes.
When did you start writing professionally?
Well,
I always have to put in the caveat,
I was 16 years old. I was 16 years old when I won my first book award.
Awesome.
And I stopped writing life, and then I started writing again 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't really stopped since.
Just keep going.
I just keep going.
That's
I
awesome.
This
What I love about these is
I love this story. I really
These
do.
are what a friend and I call a straight read. They are novella size. You can sit down. It's like getting your favorite episode or two of television.
Yes.
You can just sit.
Yes.
Just go right through it
Yeah.
and leave going, wow, cool, in a couple hours. So
I don't have a lot of fluff in it. I mean, when I first published with a publisher, they wanted the fluff, and I always felt it was forced. So when indies became the thing, I was like, I went
there.
indie, and not that there's anything wrong with adding fluff. I just like the straightforward stories.
And a lot of people are enjoying that now. People are consuming media at a rate
Yes.
that it's like never heard of before.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people just like to get sat down and dive into the story and devour it in an hour or two, and then move on.
Yeah.
And so what does she got up there? Okay, so the inspiration for Garrett's Ghost came from ghost tours that you were taking.
Yes.
What is the most interesting or cool moment that you had?
The ballroom.
The ballroom.
It was fascinating. It was torn apart because they haven't rebuilt it yet. But you could see some of the marble tiled floors that had been pulled up, and the old cranes that they used for the chandeliers, where they had to.
Oh yeah,
and then drop it back down again with the rotary thingies, whatever. I can't remember what they're called. I'm sorry. And they would clean them and then they'd roll them back up again.
Wow.
So all of that was there. The wood floors in the corners, and I walked in. I'm originally from Newport, Rhode Island, so there's a lot of Gilded Era homes there.
Yeah.
So when I walked in, I knew immediately this was basically after the Gilded Era.
It's amazing to walk into some of our older historical buildings, and whether they're under renovation or dilapidated, there's something about that era that it shines through all the dust and cobwebs. And
I immediately.
You ever walk into one of those old homes, especially in the Northeast, where in the 1940s and 50s they covered everything in white paint because what was wrong with them? But when you walk in and you start looking at the woodwork and the floor, you can just see right through the white paint.
Yes.
You can see you see that the manner that was built.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Those houses have.
See, if you
they
like
are
stuff
ghost
like that,
houses.
you should go to Newport and see the
Wow.
houses.
We are looking forward. We have a convention in January that is in New Orleans. It's Wizard World New Orleans.
Yes, they have a lot of homes there too.
And we are looking forward to taking some of the tours in
and
New Orleans.
Going
those
up the
old-
Mississippi.
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
So you have a brand new book release that we don't have the book here, but
No, because it literally
by
just.
the time this episode airs, though.
It'll
it
be
will
out.
it will have been out for a couple of weeks, so we're going to make sure you have links down below. But tell us about this. What's your new book?
It's called I Am a Runner. I helped co-write it.
Okay.
It's about a girl who got sepsis. She thought she had strep throat, so she ignored it. And then she was like, oh, it's got to be the flu. So she ignored it. They brought her to the hospital. That day they brought her to the hospital. She had she's 39. She had a heart attack. They found out she had sepsis, went into a coma. Now, she was a runner. They had to amputate her toes, and they said, you'll never run again. And her response was,
Watch this.
I will prove you wrong.
There you
And
go.
she did. She's training for the Boston Marathon.
Awesome.
I am so proud of this girl.
That is
It is a trip. So
amazing.
I helped her write this, and it just came. Amazon just sent me the letter saying, the
Hi,
email
we're gonna-
going,
yeah.
it's in.
That's awesome.
So I'm fascinated by this woman because I hate running. And she just does 3 miles, 8 miles a day. And I'm like, yeah, good
I'm
for
an old
you.
infantryman. At one time in my life, I could run. I
did,
would
but I
prefer
just.
not to.
That's it.
That's
it.
Yeah,
So she's fascinating. Yeah, they
That's
told her to call the family.
Those
This
are
is
amazing
it.
inspirational
Yes,
stories. They
yes,
really are, because we don't know what we're capable of until we're tested.
Yes.
And when you see someone like this young lady who is tested in a way that challenges everything she knows about herself.
Yes. And she was the type of person who cried wolf. So when she kept saying, I don't feel good, her husband was like, yeah. And
Well,
then,
first of all, we want to
boom.
remind everybody out there on the internet, when you have an infection of any kind,
Yes.
if you're not sure what it is or it's not going away, get the attention you need.
Immediately.
That story rings so true to me.
Yes.
It was only weeks ago, my son's wife called us and told us that he was in the hospital, had turned septic. He had an infection, and it was happenstance through family members on the phone and things like that. A family member finally told him, you need to go to the doctor. Oh. He went, and thank goodness everything was okay.
Yeah, if you catch it in time.
But he had turned septic, and in a matter of, had no idea. It was one of those, where especially the young guys and the young girls out there, they're like, I'll beat this in a couple days.
But it's flu symptoms, so you don't know.
Yeah.
that's what it is.
It is. If you feel those symptoms and you don't know why, please go get checked out because it's very dangerous.
Very,
Very dangerous.
very. You could die.
So how did you meet this young
My
woman?
my brother knows her.
Uh-huh.
She was looking for a ghostwriter, and a friend of hers was like, "I like to write. I'll do it for you." And then she wanted to charge her an active, proven ghostwriter's rate.
Okay.
And my brother was like, don't. So, so he was like, talk to my sister. So I talked to her, went back and forth, and we just made a deal, and we decided to just go ahead and co-write.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Guys, we have to wrap it up because that card means that we've been hanging out, laughing and giggling a little too much. So as we do that, we want to say thank you to our partners and our friends over at Krypton Radio, the great folks over at Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida. Famous Faces and Funnies, Rick Shea and his team are amazing. Space Coast Comics, Jake Estrada, David Grace, Indie Originals Live over there with Chuck Fresh. Cogler Emporium, our great friend Josh Bauer over at J. Bauer Art, and our friends at Embellish Effects, as well as the Foxwood Wine Company, who graciously provided these wonderful, comfy chairs, so that while we're at the conference, we can get off our feet and relax a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in and logging on. We've been hanging out with author Pamela Ackerson. We're going to put links down below so you can find all of Pamela's work. In the meantime, stay tuned in, stay logged on, and see who we're hanging with next. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
Thank you very much.